I've been doing a stills project for KitKat, specifically the KitKat Crunchy. I can use the 4 fingers in the background, and I thought I'll take you along for this shoot today. This is the final, the hero shot. The rest of them have already been done. So let's get to it. The concept is gaming, or taking a break when gaming with a KitKat. What I intend to do is levitate these gaming consoles and then some 4-finger KitKats, as well as the KitKat Crunchy in the pack, as well as eaten. We'll be using continuous lights for this shoot, and I'll explain why at the end. Since I don't have the magic power of levitation, we'll be using some fishing line today. To levitate everything, I'm going to be using 2 C-stands with the boom arm in the horizontal position parallel to the ground. The easiest way to hang something with a fishing line is to tie a double knot. And rather than just tying another knot over here on the pole, my recommendation is to make several loops just in case you want to change its position later on, and use some gaff tape or any tape and it'll hold it right in place. Now before I do anything else, I want to set up my camera, the Canon R5 24-70 2.8 lens and a circular polarizer from Nestle. I'm going to frame my shot in AV mode, and then when I'm taking my final shot I'll switch it to manual. I'm going to set my frame between 50 and 70mm on this lens, and I'm going to start hanging the chocolates. Here's a quick tip for you. If you have something that's like a chocolate or edible or porous and can hold the weight, take a sewing needle, pass the fishing line through it, depending on how you want to hang it, poke right through the chocolate and the wrapper. I always recommend having double the length of the fishing line, half above and half below, so that you can reposition the object the way you want. And at the bottom here you can tie a knot, or even put a little toothpick and tie it down.
Now I'm going to quickly levitate everything. It's just a little tweak here and a little tweak there until it looks good. You can see what this looks like from the camera.
Now that I have everything set up and hanging as I like it, I'm going to set up the lighting. The key light is going to be a 4x4 screen, and I'm going to light that with an Aperture 600D Pro and a 2x Fresnel set to flood. And now switching to manual mode, tweak my camera settings until I get the perfect exposure. The best thing about this is that if nothing moves, I can go up to f16. I adjust my polarizer to reduce the glare. I am shooting wirelessly into my MacBook in Capture One. Yes, I said wirelessly. And I can store my photos on the camera and on the computer at the same time. Let me know if you're interested in seeing how I do that, and I'll make a video about wireless tethering, no more cables, from the camera straight into Capture One, while saving the photos on the camera card as well as Capture One. I added another screen and one more side light, the SL200W from Godox. So this creates an edge or a backlight. Alright, now let's take a look at the post-processing.
Here are the 20 images from this shoot. If you take the time to prepare and keep things simple, you can get the desired final image pretty quickly. I'll open this in Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom. Since I've already edited this image, I will demonstrate what I did on this previous image. Straight out of the camera, this is what the image looks like. We have a lot of fishing lines to get rid of. The new Content Aware Remove tool in Adobe Camera Raw and Lightroom is fantastic. And this is what we'll use for most of the work here today. We will remove imperfections and get to a good starting point here in RAW before heading over to Photoshop to give it the final finishing touches. Here are the basic changes I have made to my hero shot. I reduced my highlights and shadows while I increased the whites, blacks, texture and clarity. I also added some default medium contrast in the curves. And finally, I adjusted the calibration of the primaries. I love working in the calibration panel to get better color saturation, contrast and hue. Most of the time, I start in the calibration panel and then head over to the basic panel for my adjustments. Under masking, I have one linear gradient which brings up the exposure in the top right hand corner of the image. The majority of the work done in this image is in the healing tool with the Content Aware Remove selected. As you can see, there was a lot of healing done to this image. Let me show you how I did this on an unedited image. Using this healing tool, I click on one end of the fishing line, then hold down Shift and click on the other end of the fishing line like so. And poof, the line is gone, just like magic, and the objects are now floating in midair. This doesn't take long, just a couple of minutes to finish the entire image. Let me show you all the healing done on this hero shot. I'll just reset everything, and you can see how this final image was ready for Photoshop with non-destructive editing. I've opened up the fully edited file in Photoshop and quickly show you all the layers and explain what I did to complete this image. Firstly, I did some frequency separation to clean up the chocolate bar and some overexposed highlights. Then I adjusted the shape of the KitKat fingers with the clone stamp tool on a separate layer. I also used a burn tool on a separate layer to darken the sides of the fingers. On a hue saturation layer, I decreased the yellows of the fingers, and finally some Pro Contrast using the Nik Color FX Pro plugin. Due to copyright issues, I cannot use another brand's gaming controllers for this hero shot, so I cloned and used the Liquify tool to create an original looking non-branded gaming controller. The last layer is adding some noise to bring the whole image together after all that healing and cloning. And this is the hero shot that was submitted to the client. Wait, there's more. Remember I used continuous lighting for the shoot? That is because I wanted to create a video of this hero shot for my demo reel. This is not for the client, this is just for me, and here's how I did it. I brought out the big guns for this one, the 24mm Laowa probe lens on the Canon R5, positioned in between both the C-stands on an Edelkrone slider, pushing in past all the chocolates. I had to rearrange everything, bringing them slightly closer together for this to look cool. That was quite simple to achieve because we used gaff tape to hold the fishing lines, and it took only a second to readjust. Hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. Hit that like button, that really helps. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.